Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet GT3 Championship here on a Thursday night, and we are kicking it off for round 6 at Messina. Glad to have you guys here. It is going to be a monumentally awesome race that we're going to be having, and with the championship getting closer and closer, getting a bit more heated up, we're going to see some amazing close action for that prize pool of 150,000 Rand cash and PokerBet credits for our drivers, and that is going to be chasing down to the wire. My name is Stephen Koenig. Glad to have you guys here, and welcome. We are racing around Messina, and unfortunately Tristan Herb's not going to be joining us here tonight. He is out on holiday, and a shout out to him out on holiday. But let's go down to our quali, because that is what started right now. As we jump over and bring some of the engine noise. Tim, go and bring it through. There we go. Always fantastic to hear. As we go through the running order, Fleming Bauer is first out the box with Bernard Barkhuizen chasing him down. Werner Skuman, Gideon Reyna looking to make a bit more of a climb. Bego Krobler along with Mordrake Larsens via Tia Buerta looking to push forward. Kate Van Zale, Henry Mayer, who is our current championship leader for now, is trying to score as many points as possible for him to claw his way to the top. Then we have got Tianas Buerta, Paul Fenzer going and waiting in the pits, followed by Riem van der Race, Jude Neville, Andre Seradio, SM DeBingo, Keegan Sanderson, Riem Ferree, Ryan Barrington-Smith, Kevin Jacobs, Jason Farmer in 20th position, Darren Miller, Brandon Kruger, Mahath Musa, Daniel Rowe, Christoph Peterson, Dean Nokia, and Loic Randabel going and joining in. So the Loic Randabel Thomas Gaming race driver looking to put some cards on and really go and send it off. Great to see a couple of our drivers coming from pro and having the best of the best in South Africa looking to battle each other out here tonight. So let's see, as the times are going to be rolling in, championship points are close. Henry Mayer does lead the championship with Bernard Barkhuizen tailing in second place, hoping that he can gain that little bit more time, that little bit more momentum towards the end of the season. We do know that this is round 6, and they are running out of time to go for those big wins. So you got to ensure you claw your way to the top, stand above all, and that is always the trickiest part, is how can you stand above all your competitors? Well, first thing you need to do is put in the best lap time that you can, and many of our drivers are already trying to get those quick lap times coming in. Fleming Bauer putting in a 1:33, immediately gets beaten out by Henry Mayer, his teammate, launching his way up the class, along with Mordrake Larsens lying in third place. So Mordrake Larsens come into it, and he's looking to try and raise the stakes. Ryan Barrington-Smith immediately puts himself into third place. Been on a proper drive with the Aston Martin, trying to close down on the rest of the field. Daniel Rowe, keep an eye on him. He has been improving every step of the way, and now wishes to stand on top with a bit more of a fight. The Pandassi driver, Mordrake Larsens, trying to make up some time. Bego Krobler also going and closing up a bit onto the back. Christoph Peterson, the lone man in the Honda, that has gone out and done an absolutely great run in ERA, an overseas league. He's gone and so far won nearly every race bar one. And this is going to be an interesting time, because he's looking to try and take all that action here on the South African soil, hoping that he can claw his way up. So keep an eye on Christoph Peterson. That little Honda has proven to be quite a formidable foe. Daniel Rowe, as I said, want to keep an eye out for. Bego Krobler going for those late pit stops seems to be the gamble, and moves his way up. Talking about gamble, though, Antonio Gamble going and saying hello out there from our PokerBet GT3, well, our PokerBet VIP grandstands, and going and supporting the one, the only, and I've got to go and show it off, because that is for Jason Farmer, who I'm trying to see where he is at the moment. As there he is, Jason Farmer for Griffin Sim Racing, going and having a great time out on the track. And talk about a person that's on holiday that seems to not quite understand what a holiday is. Gonna get in trouble with the missus there, Tristan. Tristan Herbs, our co-commentator, who is unfortunately missing out this evening, but is going to be enjoying the racing from his holiday home. and he is going to be supporting the likes of Bernard Barkhuizen and the Ominous Gaming team that have been really on the climb. They've been steadily going up and up and up, increasing in pace, trying to get themselves moving forward, and have really gone and stepped it up to the point that's raised the eyebrows of even their own sponsors, going and saying, there may be a little bit more here on the little bit more cards on the table than we originally planned, and that may be growing. So keep an eye out on the Ominous Gaming. Tristan's going to bring in the inside line on that one when it does come out. Expect explosions. That's all I can say. Mario Sportma going and saying, flat out, Griffin boys. As you can see the sign out there in the dark. Got some glow-in-the-dark paint. Always glad to see that our amazing spectators going and enjoying the racing here at Messina. Very difficult track, very technical circuit that does weigh a lot on the tires. We did see drive-throughs start creeping in last night with our RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series. Drive-throughs right into the final 5 minutes really changed up the game. Talk about changing the game though. Gideon Rayner, so far 0.2 faster than the rest of the field. He is now onto the back of Tianus Buerta in the McLaren, trying to get ahead of him. So he's going to try and follow in that slipstream as much as possible. Going to go maybe for a lunge to get past. No, he's going to keep within that slipstream, try and close down, bottle the corner a little bit. And unfortunately, that's taken him out of it. So not having a good time there. Was on a bit of a fly. It does move out of the way for the rest of the field to get by, hoping for some clean air. Anushka Buerta going and saying, how's it all? With a bit of excitement, supporting Martin Racing. And will be supporting husband, Vietia Buerta, currently out on track. So while she's going and insane at the amazing PokerBet, going and having a great time out there. And in the VIP grandstands, well, going and having a great time out there. Just nerves. Going to be an absolutely incredible one. Going to be back next week. Looking forward to that. And we'll be back in the box. And also, just to let everyone know, Tristan will be having his debut outing. I'm going to say this now because it's exciting. He will be the first commentator from sim racing. And I hold this because here at RaceFace.pro, we like making history happen. And with RaceFace.pro and Red Star Raceway, Tristan will be the first ever commentator from esports for sim racing to transition over to real racing. He'll be commentating on Red Star Raceway on the 21st. So the first in history, getting set here. And how this all came to be is, well, PokerBet went and said, Tristan, get online, let's see what you can do, and he's going to be out there. So history being made, done and dusted. Keep an eye on that on the 21st of September, coming soon. Ruben Heineke going and supporting his fellow teammate, going saying good luck to Jason Farmer. So, Gideon Rayner currently in third place, 0.1 behind Bernard Barkhuizen. Bernard Barkhuizen 0.1 behind Henry Mayer. So it's a close up at the front there. Fleming Powell, Venus Kuman, Ryan Smith, Daniel Rowe, but don't count out Bago Krubler. Looking to try and make his way up through the order. He's going to try and close down as quick as possible. Mahath Musa also doing a great job, going and racing on the international scene as well, and has been moving his way. So this is going to be a proper run. But I am getting news in the pits. And that is something that I don't get too often. Oddly enough, comes from a teammate. Who is that going to be? Well, Hendry, let's call him Hendry, is racing tonight with a brake pedal that's not quite so kosher anymore. Seems like a brake pedal starting to run into mechanic failure. But Hendry, I wonder who Hendry is that's going to be pushing his luck and trying everything, gambling it for the line to get that amazing prize pool brought to you by PokerBet. Don't know. Hendry. Hendry. Some say he's a mayor, but I'm leaving it to speculation there. I'm just going to put my tinfoil hat on for anyone out there. But at the moment, Henry Mayer is currently in first place, getting past. That looks to be Loic Randall coming out, moving out of the way. Good to see him back out on the grid, having a bit of fun. And looking to try and pull away from the rest of the field. Bernard Barkhuizen running in second place. But got to go through the running order. 27 cars out there. Couple of cars struggling to get times on the board, or fast times, like Brandon Kruger. 27th position. He needs to get a time on the board. Try and catch up to Loic Randall. Been doing a great job. Was racing last night in another community. and actually did rather well with it. So Lake Roundabout now trying to have a bit of fun out there and really step it up for Albanus Gaming, going and trying out all the different fortes. Tiana Spuerta, Rian Farid, the Panassi Esports driver, keep an eye on him, very consistent in pace, not a big fan of the track limits that come to the circuit. Keegan Sanderson running in 23rd. Kevin Jacobs lying in 22nd, 21st. Darren Miller from PWSR. He's going to be representing, having a bit of fun. Old Thriller Miller is going to be closing up, trying to get onto the back of Jason Farmer in 20th position. Paul Fenter 19th from Logistical Nightmare Racing, who is planning the mid-round 570 with RACEFACE.PRO, so keep an eye on that. That is going to happen. Kerry Funzale, a driver that even earned the tip of the hat from Hunty Myberg, lying in 18th position. SM Domingo, the Project Vapor driver, lying in 17th, trying to improve his time. Rian for the race, Vietia Buerta, Mordrake Larsons, Jude Neville, currently lying in 13th. He's in the pits. Dean Nokia, our streamer all the way from the console side, is now having a bit of fun. He's lying in 12th. 11th place, Daniel Rowe, Mahaith Musa, Christoph Peterson, Ryan Barrington Smith, Andre Seradio. 6th place, Furnace Kuman, Bago Krobler in 5th, Fleming Bauer in 4th. Gideon Rayner trying to get some times going. He's in 3rd. Bernard Barkhazen in 2nd. And top of the charts is the one and only Henry Mayer, who is looking to try run away. But Bernard Barkhazen currently 0.3 up on his lap time, so don't count him up. He is actually 0.3, now faster than every car on the circuit. He needs to carry it through, getting close and close to the end, running a little bit too much on the curb there. Got to be very careful. Car looking all okay, not too unsettled. Feeds on the power. It's going to be diving into the final corner. Brake, launch it in, rotate, power on, really send it, run on those rumble strips, all the way down to the line. Can he carry it through to take that first place? And does so. Bernard Barkhazen into first place. Henry Mayer comes across the line with a rebuttal on that one and goes and just manages to beat his last lap time, but not fast enough against Bernard Barkhazen. Literally, the times a 132.940 for Bernard Barkhazen. Henry Mayer, a 132.965. I mean, that is absolutely really on the limit there. But Henry Mayer still losing out that little bit of time. Needs to find literally 25 milliseconds. Chaps, just to tell you how quick that is, you blinking is just about the pace that he needs to find. And Bago Krobler with 77 milliseconds added to his time. So, I mean, this is literally faster than you can go and drink a shooter. So, that is how close these drivers are going to have to really push to find that little bit. But here at the PokerBet, we are going to see the drivers really put it on the line. They have got the express orders from PokerBet saying, listen, if you're going to go for the win, if you're going to lay it out on the line, if you want to be at the top, like what we've got happening with a competition, they have got the online poker championship, which you guys can go out and join by clicking the link below to win that prize pool of 3 million Rand, brought to you by PokerBet. Definitely something to take a look at. But PokerBet has actually spoken to the drivers and said, listen, we really love the racing. We love how tight it's going. We love to see everyone pushing their limits and really showing what they can do, elevating the sport in that, trying to get that little bit faster and faster and faster. I mean, this is our pro division. We do have a pro-am and an am division racing concurrently with us here this evening in separate servers. So don't count them out of it. Great stuff to see. Bago Krobler lying in 3rd, Brandon Kruger now in 4th. But this is where things are going to get a little bit more exciting. Because PokerBet not only has been giving a prize to every winner per race, they've still got that prize pool on the end. That's what everyone's trying to go through. They're trying to improve. And I mean, they are sitting on a good couple of hundred Rand in their pockets just by winning, which is incredible. It is something unheard of and is really mind-boggling to think of how much has been put online. Henry Mayer's out in first place, though. Bernard Barkhazen will come across the line. He's unable to improve his lap time just as yet. And no, he is out of it. Bago Krobler backing out of it. Brandon Kruger, he's in the pits. Ryan Barrington Smith trying to improve his lap time. Is he going to try and get it across the line and ensure that he stands up above the top onto the anchors, turns it in. Can he get a little bit more pace out underneath him? Coming across the line, can he get out of that top 5 and get into the top 3? Oh, unfortunately not with that 133.2. Fleming Bauer, though, is up on his personal best. He's 0.1 up, needs to carry a little bit more pace. Round for the race, 0.4 up on his personal best. He's on 133.9, so he's looking to try and improve that as much as possible. Jason Farmer, unfortunately, not on his personal best. So, Fleming Bauer trying to improve his personal best. Can he carry it through? How much can he push? Late on the anchors, he's following Jason Farmer through. That Ferrari 296 just ahead of him. The Griffin Sim Racing Works driver trying to make his way around. He's just allowing a tow for Fleming Bauer. Gonna go late on the anchors, turn it in on the power. Oh man, just got it unsteady on the exit, but is it enough to push him into the top 5? Comes across the line, 4th place for Fleming Bauer, just ahead of Brandon Kruger. All drivers have come across the line, and we'll head back to the commentary box to just talk about the amazing action coming up here at Messina. I've got to say, super excited. I don't know about you guys, but this is going to be a wild race. Take you through what's going to happen and the rules of engagement. 2 mandatory pit stops, and we have got 1 hour and 20 minutes of pure racing, back to back, going and trying to make their way through. Drivers will have to compete, work out when they serve those 2 mandatory pit stops. Pit stops will only be allowed 10 minutes after the race started and will close 10 minutes before the end. So you have got a very narrow window to get those pit stops done and dusted here at Messina. Not an easy time, very tricky to do, and our drivers are going to have to really work it out, because this is where the question comes in. How are you going to work with your tires? How are you going to work with your fuel? How much are you hammering those tires? Well, one to take a look at for the corners is going to be Variante Del Parco, who, that corner, turn 1, turn 2, a very difficult corner. Lots of cars trying to go 3 wide there. Doesn't really work out, so the driver's going to have to really be careful on entry. Rather go 2 wide, keep 1 tight on the inside, and make sure that you're on the inside heading it to the left-hander. If you go 3 wide, we've seen the incidents. You cut through the chicane, you land up through into the middle. But turn 4 is where the drivers come out the pit, so you've got to be well aware of all the cars to the left side of you before you head to Curva del Rio, where it's hard on the brakes, turn it in, short straight, and then a right-hander that literally tightens up on you. You really got to go and force the car around, get that more rotation, get the rear to kick out, short straight once again, a little bit more of an open straight, open left-hander, but don't go too far out. That's where we expect to see lots of off-tracks coming in. Curva de Corca is a difficult corner, left-hander. You've got to just really turn it in. Don't expect too many runoffs there. Drivers will be able to keep it in check. Most drivers prefer to rather just try and sweep across the nose or brake, let them go, get the momentum through Curva Toronto as they make their way around the right-hander. Then it is flat out all the way through Curve Run, right down to the last remaining corners, which would be roughly about the 4th last corner in this, into Curva de Caro, as they turn their way through down into Messina, which is the last, it's the final corner of the circuit. Let's go down to the race and get ready for all the action right here at the World of Messina for the RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet GT3 as we head down to the grid. So, that being said, we got all the excitement, we got the wows and the exciting wows coming out. Let's take a look at our grid for the PokerBet RACEFACE.PRO GT3 Championship. And it's Henry Mayer starting in first place, followed by Bernard Barkhuizen, Bego Krobler, Fleming Bauer, Brandon Kruger, Ryan Barrington-Smith in 6th, Gideon Reyna in 7th, Werner Schumann in 8th, Mahath Musa in 9th, Daniel Rowe in 10th, Andres Seradio, Dean Nokia, Christoph Peterson, ran for the race, Paul Fenter, Mordrake Larsons, Jude Neville, Kerry Fontaine, Vietia Buerta, and Esam Domingo lying in 20th position. Jason Farmer, along with Darren Miller, Kevin Jacobs, Keegan Sanderson, along with Loic Randall, Ruin Free, and Tiernas Buerta, rounding out our field. 27 cars here starting tonight, and it's going to be an absolutely wild one as we take a look at all the cars filing their way through, trying to warm up those brakes. A little bit of brake drag coming in, leaning on the anchors, try and build up that little bit of heat into the tires, into the brakes, get yourselves ready to go, get used to the track conditions as it is pitch black out there. The drivers having to really work their way through. Let's actually jump to a helmet cam with Henry Mayer, and you can see this is how much visibility they have. The odd spotlight giving them a shot of the apex. Henry Mayer leaning on the brake pedal as hard as he can. You can tell that because he is flat on the gas, bringing his 6,000 RPM, but is now trying to just warm up those brakes as much as possible, get as much heat build up into the rim and then into the tire. So you can see he gets up to about 6,000 RPM, brings it back down. 6,000 RPM, backs it down. He will have to slow it down to 70 kilometers an hour. They will be told, go side by side. Let's see how it's going to go. Sean Herrera saying LTR. Let's, before LTR, saying let's go, boys. Paul, the old LTR before they changed the names, but it's good to see Sean Herrera still out there going and putting in a bit of support. Sean Peters on media saying good luck, Keegan. Give it gas. Ren Heineken going and shouting out from the rooftops. But we're going side by side. Bernard Barkhuizen and Henry Mayer looking to start out the field on the front row. Bego Krobler and Fleming Bauer in the second row. Don't count out Brandon Kruger and Ryan Barrington-Smith looking to get their jump off the line. Lined up, ready to go, waiting for their time as they go around 70 kilometers an hour, looking for the start. Henry Mayer going to wait for the lights to go green. Over to Jim, who's on the button. Jim's ready to go. Lights on. And round 6, lights off, and we are racing. It does look like the two McLarens off to a brilliant start. Henry Mayer trying to come across and hold back Bernard Barkhuizen, does so. He gets a jump. Bernard Barkhuizen, though, loses out a little bit of momentum. Bego Krobler around the outside of Fleming Bauer. Gets it all hooked in. Fleming Bauer trying to go and defend as he looks to go back for the inside line. Brandon Kruger sticks his nose in, couldn't quite get the pass done, and immediately that has allowed Ryan Barrington-Smith to close up on the back of him. Killian Rayner moving up in position over Vernon Skuman, now looking to try and make short work of Ryan Barrington-Smith. Vernon Skuman losing out a bit of momentum, got Mahath Musa, Daniel Rowe, and Daniel Rowe fighting it out with Andre Sorodio, trying to go around the outside. Andre Sorodio not giving an inch, so dives up on the inside, gets on the anchors, and Daniel Rowe getting a little bit forced out wide. Going to lose out a little bit of momentum. Still side by side, these two go. You can see Daniel Rowe leaning on the cars as much as possible, utilizing a bit of that front wheel drive, a bit of Polo Cup knowledge there just to really lean onto Andre Sorodio. But it is not all great stuff that's happened because we have got two spinners, the 369 car and the 91 landing up in a bit of a problem. Let's jump down, see. This is Jason Farmer having a bit of a race. He's next to one, the Martian Racing cars. And I think that is the number 91. That is going and braking. Oh, never mind. Jason Farmer, a bit too hot, suddenly goes into the 118 of Kerry Van Zale. And that created a bit of a concertina effect on the way down. So a couple of cars going to be hurting from that. But fastest lap time was set by Bernard Barkhuizen, running in second place. Brandon Kruger trying to break away from Ryan Barrington-Smith, who is right on the back of him, bringing Killian Rayner along. Werner Skuman in the Mustang, trying to chase him down. The Pandassi trying to keep ahead of the Project Vapor BMW. Daniel Rowe just within earshot, looking to go on the attack as well. So don't count him out of the fight just as yet. As we do see Killian Rayner getting a great drive out of the corner, closing right up onto the back of Ryan Barrington-Smith. He's going to try and make up a little bit of time. Maybe on the brakes, the 296 will have a bit more rotation. It will be able to get its nose in a little bit better. Not quite through the left-hander. He's going to have to wait it out, flat out on the way through before you go slamming on the anchors. Bring the car back a little bit. Tightens up on the right-hander, and you're just going to have to be patient. So drivers are having to just slow down a little bit here. Work on the longer runs. We do see a bit of yellow flags coming in for the 55 and, well, the 555 and the 669 car. So that's Loic Randall landing up in a bit of a problem. And he had a bit of contact, which looks to be the 669 just ahead of him. And unfortunately, that looks to be, who is that? That is Yucko. Yeah, a little bit of contact against the 669. Not too bad, just enough to share a bit of paint between the two of them. But all looking pretty okay on the way through. So, as our drivers make their way through, Kevin Jacobs was the car that landed up with contact, as we do see Ryan Barrington-Smith up on the inside. Couldn't quite get it all hooked in. Brandon Kruger going and keeping him at bay. Now Gideon Rayner, seeing that there's blood in the water, will be chasing him down, trying to go for a bit of a pass at the moment. He goes late on the anchors, try to bring it back. Not able to get the pass done. Ryan Barrington-Smith still hanging in there, trying to keep ahead, but knowing that he's under threat. He's got teammates ahead of him and a teammate behind him. He's playing a little bit of piggy in the middle, stuck in the middle, and not going to be a great time here. And definitely having the Wolf going and knocking on the door and saying, I'm going to blow the house down, because this is going to be a charging effort. Now let's see if Ryan Barrington-Smith will be able to bring it back, or will be a house of cards at this point. Bernard Schumann, on the other hand, he switched from playing poker and switched straight to the slot machine. He's going to go for the lucky run as he tries to make his way a little bit closer to Gideon Rayner. Ryan Barrington-Smith looked for the inside of Brandon Kruger. Couldn't get it quite hooked in. Going to try and follow him through. He does keep a very tight line. He tries once again to lean on that right-hand side, trying to see whether Kruger going to have a snap in the rear. Unfortunately, not to be the case. Late on the anchors, turns it in. Couldn't quite get the pass done and does it. Gideon Rayner right onto the back of him. Werner Schumann trying to close down Mahath Musa. Still there in the attack with Daniel Rowe, who is charging down, trying to make up a huge amount of time. Late on the anchors into the final corner. Andre Serradio losing a bit of time. Christoph Peterson immediately closing up on the back of him. So our drivers really trying to push the boundaries here of what they can do. And Bago Krobler starting to feel the attack of Fleming Bauer, who went for a late lunge to try go for the inside line. Couldn't quite get it all hooked in, but it was enough to go and unsettle Bago Krobler just ever so slightly in the attack. Bago Krobler having to just watch his mirrors a little bit more here, and the driver looking to make it through. Hybrid Racing, Bago Krobler will be keeping an eye on this. He knows the tactics that can be used by Fleming Bauer. He's actually done it in the past. Go for those late lunges, constantly feed into the mirror, keep you looking to your right-hand side or your left-hand side, and it'll bug the living daylights out of you. Especially for these drivers, they do run what we call a virtual mirror. That is a mirror on the top of their screens. Now, doesn't sound like a problem because, well, you've got a mirror on the top of your screen. You don't have to look on the middle, you don't have to look left, or you don't have to look right. That being said, you have to take your eyes off the apex, look up onto your screen. Depending on the height of where your screen is and where you're sitting, it does take your eyes completely off that apex. It does force you to look away, make a mistake, miss your brake block about 2 meters, and whammo, bammo, thank you, ma'am. That is how you lose a position. Oh, Ryan Barrington-Smith getting a take slapper. Does bring it back, though, with a big slide with the Aston Martin. Gideon Rayner leaned on him a little bit, trying to make his way by, and just couldn't get the power on early on. So he's going to try and feed it back in to go after Ryan Barrington-Smith. Back up towards the sharp end of the field. Bernard Barkhuizen in second place. Bago Krobler running in third. Got Fleming Bauer right on the back of him. But now Bago Krobler is a lot closer to Bernard Barkhuizen. Henry Mayer's about 4.5 seconds checked out of this fight, and he is going to be quite thankful for it right now. Bago Krobler, though, not going to be very thankful to see the back of Bernard Barkhuizen, realizing that there's a little bit of a hold-up, and he is the only front engine in this little fight. And the two McLarens are really going to go for a brawl. You want to be stuck in a Lando Norris and Piastri sort of fight, you're on the wrong side of things right now. As he goes to get to take slapper, tries to bring it back, and we do see a pass going on. Gideon Rayner going and lining it up next to Ryan Barrington-Smith, going to try and drag him down towards the wire. Couldn't quite get past the Aston Martin straight line, but looks to go for the undercut. Couldn't quite get it hooked in once again. You can see Ryan Barrington-Smith not so happy with those rears, sliding every so often, battling to get those grip and trying to get it all back into check. Gideon Rayner leaning on the inside once again, tries to go for the pass, couldn't quite get it hooked in. Ryan Barrington-Smith still maintaining that gap throughout, and this is where the wear out of the tires is going to start closing up, and the driver's going to start battling on the way through. Another little fight happening. Werner Skuma and Mahath Musa close to one another. Viertia Burta, but Waldrek Claessen's into the dirt, number 10 car. Unfortunately, having a bit of a rough time out there. And this was chasing down what looks to be, might be Jude Neville that was ahead of him? That is an Eleanor car. Yes, it is. That is Neville. And he got onto the back of. And no, he actually went off into the dirt. Something went wrong. And he eventually brought it back. But not ideal circumstances there. We do see a bit of contact between the 555 and the 121 though. And that is Loic Randabel and Keegan Sonerson that landed up going nose to tail with one another. Let's see, this is Keegan of the Angry Esports team with Loic Randabel of the Almas Gaming. We do see Keegan go onto the dirt, lose out a little bit of drive, and tries to bring it back. A little bit of contact between himself and Loic. Loic's able to get by. Kevin Jacobs, though, immediately leaned on the pressure to try and close up that gap as well. So great racing there, but all the drivers doing everything they can. We're getting a bit of news from the pits, though. Mordre had a disconnect, Wi-Fi going and causing a bit of a problem. So there is a bit of a connection issue going on with Mordre Clausen and the Wi-Fi. And Xavier, the team principal of Productive Panda, going and, of Pandacity, going and giving us that little bit of insight from the pits. Always a big shout out to those giving a bit more insight here in the commentary box. It would be lovely to go and have a chat to the guys and really talk to them during the course of the race, but I think a lot of them will be, well, less than enjoyable to have someone rattling off in their ears the way that I do. So we're going to have to really lean on to talking to our amazing teams out there that are really putting the charge on. We're seeing the top of South Africa. No, hold on. We are seeing the top of the world racing here tonight and in this championship with that prize pool from PokerBet that has got it all out on the line. So bear it in mind, it's going to be a proper wild one because 150,000 Rand on the line. Pit window is now open for the PokerBet GT3 Championship powered by RACEFACE. So one thing, if you're a big soccer fan, and I know there is a good couple of you that are really enjoying the world of soccer and football, correctly predict the final league standings of the SA and English leagues to stand a chance of winning your share of 3 million Rand with PokerBet Premier Predictor. You heard me right, 3 million Rand share if you can predict the final standings of leagues, of SA leagues and of English leagues, brought to you by PokerBet Premier Predictor. You don't want to miss out on that one. It's always great stuff, and going and giving another aspect for you to win big with PokerBet, much like our drivers are out there tonight going and doing everything they can. Fleming Bauer is into the pits. Mahath Mus is into the pits. We are already getting early pit stops on in this race. Will they be the only two? We saw Mahath Mus has done this before. Well, Andre Sorodio, though, getting a yellow flag, the number 6. Now, let's see if we could take a look at it. This is Andre Sorodio. What happened to him that yellow flags were immediately pulled out and withdrawn? So, Sorodio dives into the pits as well. So, I do think it was a bit of a late break in there. Might have had a slight disconnect, reconnect, but he is into the pits. So, Sorodio is into the pits. Kevin Jacobson into the pits. Jason Farmer, Keegan Sanderson, Mike Musa, and Fleming Bauer all into the pits. That does open up the track a little bit more for the drivers. Vernus Kuman and Daniel Rowe closing each other down, trying to do everything they can to really step it up and get going. I do want to invite, though, team principals were more than welcome to come through to the commentary. Love to get a bit of insight of the cars, especially in these trickier conditions, and all those drivers as well, to try and get a bit more of an understanding of what's happening out there. Drivers, less favorable to come into the commentary box, purely on the fact of we want to see the back out on the track. We want to see the pros fight it out the way that they should be, and that is getting it to the line at all costs. Especially, you got 2 mandatory stops. It's a long race, hour and 20 minutes, a lot to play for here. It's all about getting that climb once again. Ryan Barrington-Smith onto the back and trying to really keep it ahead of Gideon Reyna. Vega Hrubler closing up onto Bernard Barkhazen, but Gideon Reyna going for the charge. Daniel Rowe has pulled into the pits to get his first pit stop done and dusted here tonight. So Gideon Reyna trying to close up that gap. Ryan Barrington-Smith all over around him. Looks left, looks right. Couldn't quite get it all sorted out. Has to try, go for the inside line. Gets it a little bit squirrely. Suddenly, they're onto the back of Keegan Sanderson, who's minding out of the way as one of the back markers. He has every right to hold the racing line, but he mustn't fight with the cars getting past him. So he has every right to be on the racing line, just can't put up a fight. He's done so, kept it nice and safe, but also gives himself that little bit of time to get a bit more speed, get closer towards the front of the pack, and bring it through. Darren Miller keeping ahead of Andre Serradio as Kevin Jacobs, they've just gotten round, but side by side for Thriller Miller as he takes a look on the inside line, suddenly has a likes of Andre Serradio getting past. Beautiful lean on one another, both going and fighting out. Thriller Miller though gets take slapper. Oh, Kevin Jacobs getting into the back of him. Thriller Miller getting a rear impact on the right hand side of his car. Is now trying, on the left hand rear, trying to get that car re-fired up on the way through. So let's see if we can go back a little bit for the 91 car and just watch from in car what happened. Did he get cross-armed? There is the fight with the likes of Andre Serradio. He's trying to bring it back. And there's the take slap. He's trying to get back, trying to drive out of it. And unfortunately, the rear impact, bang, that was all she wrote. Had to tow back to pits, get some work done on that rear axle after a monstrous impact. Kevin Jacobs will be suffering with a bit of damage to his front end as well. So hopefully they can get those cars back out on track, because we really don't want to see it end like that. But unfortunately, a tank slapper came in, got into this lazy slide. You could hear it on that traction control, not wanting to break out of it. He got on the power to immediately try and pull the car straight. Unfortunately, just didn't have enough room there. So this is properly having a bit of trouble. Getting a bit of Nezo down in the pits. And, wow. This is going to be a big one. As we see Brandon Kruger, who is actually into the grandstands, who's saying, unfortunately, landed up with a disconnect. And he is out of the race at this point. Well, Brandon Kruger, the commentary box is always open to have a chat to you. It would be preferable to see you out on the track. You know my feelings on that one. But I'm not going to hammer it too hard on that one. I do know that you going and supporting Bernard Barkhazen and Gideon Renner, who is fighting it out, trying to close up. As we do see a drive-through penalty come in. That is for track limits exceeded for Keegan Sanderson. So Keegan Sanderson getting caught out with the drive-through penalty. He's going to have to serve that within 3 laps of this race. So definitely not an easy time out there for Keegan Sanderson. He's going to have to figure out where he can go and make his way out towards the top. This is going to be a proper run. And it is going to be a chase down. So Bernard Barkhazen with Bego Krobler closing up right behind them. Couldn't quite get the drive. Bernard Barkhazen just able to out-accelerate him, utilizing that pace and going. Now, 2 drivers I want to bring up, and you want to hear about this proper little fight. Dean O'Keefe and Paul Fenter have a little bit of a love-hate relationship between one another, and they do joke around quite a bit with one another on the amount of discussions. They have a bet who's going to be talking the most. Well, Paul Fenter is saying that Dean goes and chats quite a bit. Dean, on the other hand, is saying that Paul does it with his shenanigans. So 2 streamers looking to really go and put it out there. Brandon Kruger saying, unfortunately, he's going to just call it a night. He's going to just sit back, watch, chill, and chat to his teammates. So won't be joining us in the commentary box. Fair enough. Long day, difficult times, and obviously you wanting to put a little bit of support in for your fellow drivers, just keeping an eye out, watching them out there. Well, you're more than welcome to do so. Paul Fenter trying to bounce over the curbs to catch up to after Dean O'Keefe, not able to get a run there, and will lose out that little bit of time. So let's talk about the bigger games here, because we have now broken into that 1 hour, 2 minutes to go of the race. So far, Fleming Bauer lying in 18th position. First of those that have completed his first pit stop. He's lying in 18th. Daniel Rowe lying in 19th position, followed by Mahath Musa, Andre Serradio, Jason Farmer, Islam Domingo, along with Keegan Sanderson, Kevin Jacobs. They're all trying to move their way up through the order. But that is the bar you want to keep ahead of. Those are the drivers you want to ensure you stay ahead of. You don't want to get caught out by them. You want to see how far up the road you can get as close as possible to them. Where that is going to turn out, well, only time will tell for our drivers trying to work their way through. And everything on the cards is going to be, you have to try and dig your nose in, see where you can get that little bit of a climb, and work your way through. So, proper runs needed. As we see Dinock here still trying to close up the time. Bago Krubler, though, is onto the back of Bernard Barkhuizen and really leading into that inside line, hoping he can go for the pass. Couldn't quite get it done and dusted, but Bago Krubler closing up onto the top. Do want to talk about a couple of things happening at PokerBet. We will be mentioning in a couple of times because they've just released a huge run out on their social media, which I highly recommend. Go over to their Facebook page of PokerBet and be a part of it. Go and like their page. Lots of stories coming through. We'll go and bring that up a little bit later. Bago Krubler and Bernard Barkhuizen still giving a good go with one another, trying to see where they can get this climb. How far can they go up the road? Who's going to be able to stand at the top of the charts? So far, Bernard Barkhuizen done a very careful job getting his way to the top there, ensuring that he can stay into the fight and they can stay a bit closer towards the sharp end of the field. Not going to be an easy time. Everyone's going to have to try and figure out where they're going to go. Tire wear is a problem. Fuel is another one. When are you going to get those pit stops done and dusted? That is the cards that everyone's going to have to worry about. Who's going to be able to close their way towards the sharp end of the order. So, out there in thank you to our admins going and putting in for our RACEFACE.PRO Facebook page and also the PokerBet Facebook page. Always grand to go see it. Lots out there to go and see on the social media side of things. But let's talk about a good fight going on. Mordred Claessen's Viertier Buerta. Two drivers that don't usually get to go and square up against one another. This time, lying in 11th and 12th position. Viertier Buerta close onto the back of Mordred Claessen's, doing everything he can, try and get the pass done. But unfortunately, Mordred Claessen's got a little bit more grunt underneath him. Tianas Buerta getting the grunt over Loic Randebel, who, remember, is going and clawing his way up to the sharp end of the order. So he's really stepped it up, trying to get that little bit further up the rounds. So let's see how it's going to be able to work out for him. To take a look and see our live timing. And we will have immediately get Tim to sort out and rectify to get you guys all sorted out there with our live timing out on pit wall. It should be up, so just go and quickly refresh to see all the racing action then. So, Bago Krubler onto the back of Bernard Barkhuizen, trying to make up a little bit of time side by side as they go. Bernard Barkhuizen, though, getting a little bit more straight line, is able to pull away and get ahead of the Aston Martin. The Bago Krubler on the way through, late on the anchors to just try and bring it back. Suddenly, Bernard Barkhuizen, from dominating run, now having a bit of a problem. Bago Krubler forcing those tyres to start working a bit harder. McLaren's very well known to go and destroy their rears a lot faster than the rest of the field. So he's got to be very cautious on that one. Bago Krubler knows the Achilles heel of that, but he also knows that Bernard Barkhuizen is well aware of the Aston Martin. Front end is the first thing that stops dropping out on this car. Understeer starts creeping in, and you run into a bit of an issue. It feels like it becomes a 2-ton truck that you're trying to make your way through if you start impacting those tires far too much. Take a look, though, down in 16th position. Fleming Bauer has started moving up the order. He has now got ahead. Rian Ferree down in 19th is unfortunately in a world of hurt at the moment, still needing to do 2 more stops and is swamped by everyone that has done their first stop. Bago Krubler, though, on the charge route, trying to make his way up. Werner Skuman trying to power his way onto the back of Ryan Barrington-Smith at the moment. Couldn't quite get the drive. Ryan Barrington-Smith going and really just leaning on the throttle, trying to let the car shift around, utilizing all that weight, allowing a little bit more rotation underneath him. Werner Skuman, though, trying to just push that little bit harder, hoping that just maybe there's an opportunity here to go for a big climb. Couldn't quite get it all hit. He's going to have to wait it out, try and figure out what is going to be the next step. Where is he going to go? What is running through the order of our drivers on the way through? Let's go through our standing order as it stands. Henry Mayer out in first place, Bernard Barkhuizen in second, Bago Krubler lying in third, Kilian Rayner running in fourth, followed by Ryan Barrington-Smith, Werner Skuman, Christoph Peterson, Paul Fenter, Jude Neville, round for the race, More Drake Clausen's down in 11th. Viateur Buerta in 12th. 13th is Tianas Buerta. Harry Funzale. Fleming Bauer. Loic Randall. Daniel Rowe in 17th. 18th, Mahaith Musa. Rian Ferree. Dean Nokia. Andre Serradio. Jason Farmer. Issam Domingo. Keegan Sanderson. And lying in 25th, Kevin Jacobs, who is out there doing everything he can with the Monkeys Racing. Onto the back of Keegan Sanderson. And these two we don't get to talk a lot about, but we do see Kevin Jacobs going side by side. Keegan Sanderson of the Angry Racing team getting pushed around to the outside. Going to look for the cutback though. You go and try and stand on the gas early on. Side by side these two go. They are fighting it out, 24th and 25th, but they are hammering it, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely sending it and giving it the hordes. I want to hear you guys go absolutely wild for these two, because they don't get much of the TV time. They don't get much of the sharp end of the field, and only getting caught out when the faster end of the grid is around them. But these two are wearing their hearts on their sleeves. They're racing in pro. They are at the top of the charts in terms of drivers. They are in the top 25 as it stands, with Kevin Jacobs just getting the run over Keegan Sanderson on the exit there. Well done, folks. Well done to you two. Glad we got to see that little fight. It was always enjoyable. Daniel Rowe, Mahaith Musa, two that also don't really get to race against one another, but bear in mind, they are fighting for overall position. Mahaith Musa is doing everything he can. All the cars that have pitted already at the start, let's bring this one into mind, is every single one that has only splash and dash, which leaves tires still on the cards. 45 minutes left to go in this race, and everyone is able to get a new set of tires. I do think the only time you wouldn't consider getting tires, as we quickly ran a bit down there, Loic Randall, Mahaith Musa, and Daniel Rowe going. So let's actually go quickly back on that, because Loic Randall lost out 2 positions on that one. So let's go to our helicam quickly. See Loic Randall in the Porsche. Very tight line through the left-hander. Goes out wide, jumping over the curbs. And Daniel Rowe in the BMW, lying right behind the Porsche. Then Mahaith Musa just beyond him. Late on the brakes, trying to send it through. Loic Randall missing out the corner. It goes out very wide. Suddenly has both BMWs launching his way through. Quick flash of the lights, though. I do think Loic gave them the room and said, yeah, you guys go. Pull me along at the moment, because I want to see this work out. So Mahaith Musa staying on the charge, really leaning on to Daniel Rowe at the moment. Couldn't quite get the drive. Going to really try and claw back at him. Looks for the inside line, possibly into turn 1. Couldn't quite get it all hooked in. Going to brake a little bit early, tuck the nose in, get back on the power. Really try and get the car back in order. Daniel Rowe just trying to maneuver his way through. Definitely feeling the pressure from Mahaith Musa on the back of him, trying to get by. Our drivers going through the gears, really slamming it down. We did hear a Porsche just go through into the gearing zone from our cameras, and you can hear down the 2 gears quite quickly to just use a bit of engine braking to slow him down. As Mahaith Musa utilizing that far outside line, not going to be pulled into the grip. And it is going to be a proper charge. Dean Nokia with Andre Serradio still putting pressure on one another as they make their way around the circuit. We do see Bago Krobler pitting out of that top 3. He's down into 7th position. He is looking to stay ahead of Fleming Bauer, who is coming to make his way through. So keep an eye on 8th and 14th. Fleming Bauer needs to get ahead of Bago Krobler, and that will go and tell whether he has got the pass in or not. Has he beaten the bar? Has he gotten past? Is he going to be putting tires on? That is a question. We spent a good bit of time out on the tires. It's been 27 minutes currently on the tires, with 52 minutes and 36 seconds remaining. Pit window 42 minutes. Remember, pit lane does close 10 minutes before the end. So Bago Krobler still trying to close up the gap as he exits the pits, and Fleming Bauer getting past him. So Bago Krobler exits the pits. Fleming Bauer's gone past him, and he goes and lands. Sorry, no, Bago Krobler gets ahead of Fleming Bauer because pit lane comes out after the corner. So Fleming Bauer is onto the back of Bago Krobler. Bago with an early pit stop, which is different to his strategies all season long. He has been going for the late, long runs. Now he switched it up, going for an early run. Tianis Buerta doing a pit stop now. He's going to be trying to get that out of the way to pull himself up through the order. So going to be a very interesting time there, as our drivers really fight their way through, trying to run out that little bit longer. Bago Krobler, Fleming Bauer trying to make up that little bit of time. Not able to do so there. Tianis Buerta comes out ahead of Jason Farmer as they make their way through. So far, only one that's out of our top 12 needing to do a pit stop, and that's going to be Loic Randabel, who needs to do 2 pit stops. But within our top 11, still needing to get their first mandatory pit stop out of the way. So bear that in mind. Going to be a very close time there. Christoph Peterson trying to get on the back of Werner Skuman at the moment, trying to get into the toe, pulling himself along. Is he going to be able to get the pass done and dusted? That is the longer term. Short of it, the little Honda trying to go around the outside. Couldn't get the pass done as yet. Has to try and figure out where is this all going to go. Our drivers hoping to get a little bit more run as they make their way through. So definitely a very, very difficult one on how they can stand up towards the sharp end of the field. Let's see how they're going to push themselves out a little bit more. And a proper charge on the way through. Lots and lots of wondering whether Christoph Peterson can get the pass done. Unfortunately, looked for the inside line. Couldn't quite get it all hooked in. Goes and has to reel it back on the way through. So let's see how our driver's going to deal with this. All trying to get themselves towards the sharp end of the field on the way through. So properly chasing each other down. Christoph Peterson, Werner Skuman, as Werner getting the little bit more ahead. Werner in 5th place, Christoph Peterson running in 6th, the little Honda, hanging on to the back of the mighty V8. The Ford Mustang has got extreme legs against the Honda, but doesn't have the rotation to get it all hooked in. And that is where it's going to be rather difficult for our drivers to try and get a little bit ahead up the road. Dino Kier and Andre Serradio also in their own fight a little bit down in 17th and 18th position, respectively. But Bago Krobler is in 12th, who has done everything he can to just try and keep within that top 12. He has completed his first stop, so it's going to be something to keep an eye out for. Loic Randabel pulling into the pits from 19th position. He's going to try and get himself all sorted out and get going on the charge. Christoph Peterson still hanging into the back, trying to do everything he can as we jump on board with little Honda. Waiting for that VTEC to kick in. And really going to have to go for late anchors here. It takes a bit of an early line compared to Werner Skuman. You can see a bit of understeer coming in. Well, the Mustang all looking pretty put together on the way through. We jump on the rear wing of Werner Skuman as he makes his way up, goes around the corner, jumping it over the curbs. Sparks flying all over the show. Late on the anchors, trying to pull it back, really giving it everything he can. Heading into turn 1, Christoph Peterson still hanging in there, just hasn't got the top end to deal with the Mustang of Werner Skuman, who's really on the charge, going and running right over the curbs. We do know the front engines, though, not afraid to take the curbs. They can really bounce their way through and get towards the top. Rian Ferry and Ferry van Zale both need to get their first pit stops out of the way, as they are also caught within the bunch. So it's got to be a proper run between them. As we see Christoph Peterson once again leading on that inside line. It's actually drawing him a bit closer to Ryan Barrington-Smith. So this is going to be an interesting one to just keep in the back of our minds, as Ryan Barrington-Smith, who thought he ran away from his teammate, suddenly having a battle. Daniel Rowe, Mahath Musa coming at each other. Project Vapor versus the Hybrid Racing team. As we see Daniel Rowe late on the brakes, trying to bring it in. Trail braking on the way through, and Mahath Musa immediately closing up that gap. Has got a huge amount of pressure onto the back of him. Going to really lean into it and hope they can get the pass done. They've got what looks to be one of the Pandassi BMWs ahead of him. And I'm just trying to see who that is possibly that they've closed up on. That is Harry van Zale that they've actually closed up onto the back of. So Kerry van Zyl will have to watch his mirrors very, very carefully, because these two are going to come back at him. But all three BMWs going and making their way through. Gotta say, not a big fan of these BMWs, but they have proven themselves to be quite effective in a race in terms of GT3 and the M4 GT3s that have become the staple for many of the drivers that are coming up through the ranks. Difficult to master, easy to drive sort of cars, and taking that philosophy straight to the top. Well, Daniel Rowe onto the back of Kerry van Zyl, trying to look for a bit of a pass at the moment. Looking left and right on the way through. Kerry van Zyl immediately diving into the pit allow Daniel Rowe and Mahayath Musa to continue their fight. Another little fight starting to break out. Fleming Bauer and Bego Krobler as they make their way through. Bego Krobler getting a great drive over Fleming Bauer, but Fleming's going to keep in the charge, keep right onto the back of him, carry on as much acceleration as possible. Kerry van Zyl and Dean Norkier pulling into the pits. They are serving their pit stops and trying to get it done and dusted before they get back out and running once again. So our top 11 still waiting to get a pit stop done and dusted with anything on the cards. Christoph Peterson up on the inside, getting the pass done on Werner Skuman. Werner's going to try and battle him out side by side, both getting a tank slapper. Werner Skuman still trying to come back at him. Christoph Peterson holding up that inside line. Now it's into the left-hander. Going to go in favor of the likes of Werner Skuman. Runs about wide side by side as they go. And Werner Skuman goes into the pits. And that goes and puts Christoph Peterson on the back foot. Gets run up on the inside. Goes and keeps them at bay. But at the same time, immediately goes and forces Christoph Peterson to stay out on the outside. Couldn't get out into the pits. And now we'll have to go that extra lap, going and stopping that undercut from happening. So great move there. Going leaning on the drivers, putting yourself in just a valuable position to get the pass done and dusted. So, interesting turn of events. Dean Norkier down the order. He's lying in 21st. Has got the pass. He's got himself done and dusted with all his drives. So he is done and dusted. We do see a bit of yellow flags kicked up for the number 13 car. And this is Issam Domingo, oddly enough, having a bit of a tough time with the 296 Ferrari that's behind him. So he runs out wide, tries to bring it back all together. As he comes back on track, oh, suddenly has a LNR Ferrari into the door of him that just understeered. Thankfully, no big hammer there, but enough to unsettle both cars on the way through. So, Henry Mayer trying to make up a great bit of time. But talking about great times, well, keep an eye out for the SA Online Poker Series. The series that wins a trip to Las Vegas. Yes, you heard me right. Going and fighting it out in the SA Poker Series, the Online Poker Series. You stand a chance not only to go for that 3 million rand that is guaranteed across 6 events. You also do win a star-studded flight over to Las Vegas, and oh mama, that is going to be absolutely great. If you well, I can't really do the Elvis impression, but I'll try the Johnny Bravo, whereas oh mama, that is all fine. Oh well, I failed at that one. But if you're going to Las Vegas, best go and jump over to PokerBet, try your hand, and go and give it a shot in the Online Poker Series. If you got what it's got to claw your way into the best, well, fight with the best out on PokerBet. They're down in the description below. So, Daniel Rowe, Mahayath Musa onto the back of one another. They have now got Werner Skuman, who has just come out of the pits, looking to get into the fight. Round for the race, pulled into the pits, so he's going to drop out of that top 10 quite quickly. But a lot of things have been spoken about. One of them is Barkhazen pulling Gideon nicely. Yes, they are actually running second and third at this point, trying to pull their way through to get a little bit closer to Henry Mayer, who, how on earth it's possible to get an 18.5 second gap to the likes of your competition is beyond me. But if you want to talk about skills to get it done, my heavens, that is one of them. That is definitely one of them. Gideon Rayner's into the pits, and so is Christoph Peterson. So he's pulled into the pits, and that is probably to try and usurp the likes of Werner Skuman and to get ahead of Bago Krubler. Remember, Bago Krubler is the bar you want to get ahead of at the moment to ensure that you stay within the fight. Mahith Musa, though, staying into the fight with the likes of Daniel Rowe. Referee pulled into the pits. He's getting out of the pits. Mordred Claessens is into the pits as well. So he's going to drop out of that top 10 rather quickly at this point, as we will see them come through. Werner Skuman, though, not going to be a happy camper because he just scored himself a drive-through penalty added onto it. Got 3 laps to serve it, and the only way you get a drive-through penalty here on a set of course competizione, racing around Messino and battling it out on a beautiful Messino circuit for 4:45 in the morning, nearly 4:45 in the morning here at Messino. A nice dark start for our drivers with 41 minutes to go. Well, that is because you've gone and really laid into those track limits, and now you have just overdone it, you overcooked it. Drive-through penalty starting to come in. That's going to drop him out of the top 10. Unfortunately, adding another, basically a pit stop added onto him. And unfortunately, Werner Skuman, top 10 hopes will be put out at the moment unless something happens. Mahith Musa fighting out with Daniel Rowe, which I do want to point out, Henry Mayer dived into the pit, so he's getting it done. Will Bernard Barkhuizen? Yes, he's going to get out by. So Bernard Barkhuizen comes across the line, taking that top spot. Ryan Barrington-Smith coming in second place. Paul Fenter going to come across the line. Now Paul the Wall coming in and getting himself through. Want to say a big shout out to Paul the Wall Fenter. He's been on a bit of a hard charge at the moment to claw his way back up into the world of sim racing. He's been a little bit on the wayside, trying to get himself back in and get himself going, getting a little bit more out there. Vietia Buerta pulls into the pits. He's going to get right behind Henry Mayer, his teammate, who is now exiting the pit lane, saying goodbye, Vietia. You can really enjoy the pit crew there. Bago Krubler, though, going to try and make up some time. Bago has completed his first pit stop, so bear that in mind. If he can get ahead of Henry Mayer on the way through, it is a big turn of events for him. And he has just done so. So has Daniel Rowe, Mahith Musa. Then we've got Henry Mayer coming out. So Henry Mayer has lost out a lot of time there. The undercut early on in the race has done a lot to get himself jumped up. So our top 4 still need to get their first pit stops underway. But from 19th, Fleming Bauer and Dean Nokia in 22nd have completed all their pit stops. Bear that one in mind, because that may change the entire race on the way through. So that may be the major break for our drivers. So, taking a look through the running order as it stands at the moment. Bernard Barkhuizen, Ryan Barrington-Smith, Paul Fenter in third. Well, never mind, he pulls into the pits. Thanks, Paul. Call me a liar. Well, that one, because suddenly Jude Neville's going to come past. Nope, Jude Neville's going to pull into the pits. He's going to say, I'm going to make you a liar as well. And, well, that's why you could say it always makes it a rather difficult time. Great to put all the cards on the table, but you got to also keep a joker in hand just for that extra play, that last-minute ace to pull out of your hand and really put it down and score a full house. Well, these drivers are doing that with the strategic stops, calling each other's bluffs, working it out. Low Crandall, though, working out that the stewards are wide awake, gets a drive-through penalty. Daniel Rowe pulling into the pit, so he's going to try go for an undercut. Mahith Musa is going to continue accelerating past, and Henry Mayer going to be accelerating his way past as well. So, change of events happening right now. Drivers having to really figure out what they're doing here, how they're going to get on the climb, where is it all going to end up, as we do see Daniel Rowe, he is in the pits. What has happened to Daniel Rowe? Timing screen shows him down in 23rd, but our timing screen out on the game does show that he's a little bit further up that. So, was there a quick jump? Was there a disconnect that maybe tossed him back? I don't think so. Would like to think so. He is fixing a bit of damage on that car, so we'll keep an eye on him just to see where he does come out. Paul Fenter comes on to the back of Christoph Peterson, and Jude Neville coming out of the pits now, trying to get ahead of Rian van der Race, who did a very early pit stop. Once again, the Gramadulas Racing, Rian van der Race in the big Mercedes AMG GT3, looking to get ahead. He's got Jason Farmer trying to chase him down. So, some proper changes on the way through. Everyone trying to stand it up. Gonna have to see where things are happening out here. Harry Van Zyl fighting it out with Dean Nokia. Dean Nokia tries to go for a pass. Couldn't quite get it all hooked in as they make their way through. I do see Daniel Rowe will be back out on track. Yes, he does. So he's back out on circuit, lying in 14th position. And that does jump him ahead of Fleming Bauer and the likes of Venus Kumon. So he is in for a run here. Daniel Rowe with an early pit stop to complete all his pit stops may actually have done a proper undercut on the rest of the field. I think it's going to be a difficult one for our drivers to see who's going to claw their way through. But Bernard Barkhuizen and Ryan Barrington-Smith both needing to go and get their first pit stop underway. And Henry Mayer has closed up. Now, let's talk about the proper change of things. Because Henry Mayer, lying in third place, has completed his pit stop, but has put a new set of tyres on. So is Gideon Rayner, Christoph Peterson, Paul Fenter. New set of tyres on those cars. Jude Neville's a new set of tyres on his car. Round for the Races got a new set of tyres on his car. And then we go down. Jason Farmer, Splash and Dash. Viertia Burta, new set of tyres. Daniel Rowe, new set of tyres. Fleming Bauer, tyres, fuel, and repair. Round 3 has just done fuel. SM Domingo, just fuel. Harry Van Zyl, tyres and fuel. Dean Nokia, tyres and fuel. Mordred Clausen, Splash and Dash. Werner Skuman, tyres and fuel. Tielas Burta, tyres and fuel. Loke Animal, so drive through. And is still trying to get it done. Dusty Heater, Splash and Dash to get himself a little bit up into the fight. So we've seen some changes here. Ryan Barrington-Smith into the pit, so he's trying to get himself done. Wants to get ahead of Bago Krubler. So Bago Krubler, currently lying in 11th position, is a driver that you want to ensure that you stay ahead of as they fight their way through. Daniel Rowe trying to close up that gap. He's lying in 12th. Our top 10 still need to get their pit stops done and dusted, along with referee Harry Van Zyl, SM Domingo, and Loke Randall, needing to get themselves a little bit further up in the order. Not going to be an easy time out there. Henry Mayer does gain a position over Ryan Barrington-Smith. Will retake that second place on the way through. Bernard Marquez is going to carry on stretching his legs a little bit. I don't know. Bernard's taking a very big gamble here on the way through. He's trying to move his way up through the order. Going to be a bit of a tight one to ensure that he closes up that gap. And not going to be the easiest on the way through. So keep that in mind as we view the race from all angles. You can see Christoph Peterson onto the back of his teammate Ryan Barrington-Smith. Both from the logistical nightmare camp. But both are not the easiest to go and give up. And, well, they're not going to say, oh, well, after you, dear sir. They will push each other to the limit. Both are fighting for the championship points. So they are looking to score big. And the only way that you're going to score big is not by playing nice with your teammate. You're going to have to say, listen, buddy, back it off. I'm going to go for the points, and you're going to have to work hard to get past me. Christoph Peterson knows exactly what he needs to do. Ryan Barrington-Smith knows exactly what he needs to do. Both been practicing with one another, talking each other through the setups, and see where they can make up that little bit of time. So great racing all the way through. So our drivers really stepping up. Christoph Peterson onto the back of Ryan Barrington-Smith, trying to close the gap up quite a bit. Fleming Bauer with Mahath Musa at the moment onto the back of him, trying to make up some time. Not an easy charge all the way through as they make their way around the corners. Not going to be a proper drive. So how this is all going to work out, it's going to be a long run for them to really push themselves up and get into the fight as they make their way through. Mahath Musa on a proper charge. Faree into the pits. Sanderson into the pits. As our drivers really push themselves as hard as they can on the way through. We got to also keep an eye. Christoph Pearson, Ryan Barrington-Smith, they're pulling each other along. Yes, they are taking the fight to one another, but who's going to be able to get that big charge towards the line? Ryan Barrington-Smith with Christoph Peterson constantly pushing onto the back of him, ensuring they can close up that gap, ensure they can stay within the fight. Not going to be an easy one though, as two of them pulling themselves a bit closer to Gideon Rayner. who is trying to get past. He's gotten past Jonas Burta from Hybrid Racing. He's trying to catch up to Henry Mayer, who is on an almighty charge. 43 seconds behind Bernard Barquez as it stands. With a great run. Bago Krubler lying in 11th position. We've got 21 minutes left of that pit window open as it stands. Drivers needing to really figure out the charge here. Who's going to be able to get that extra bit of climb to ensure that they stay right up towards the top. So Christoph Peterson onto the back of Ryan Barrington-Smith is our closest fight as it stands. So many different changes. Loic Randeveld suddenly getting a little bit of a lead on there from Ryan Barrington-Smith. He keeps to the tighter line, going to allow both Eleanor cars to get around the outside. He's going to rejoin behind them. He's still got one more stop ahead of him. And remember, he did serve a drive-through penalty. So did Werner Skuman serve a drive-through penalty. And Keegan Sanderson served a drive-through penalty. Everyone else, well, I spoke too soon, because drive-through penalty handed out to Geert Zale. Unfortunately, for his time off circuit, you get 3 warnings before you get the steward jumping in and saying, right, buddy, you've earned a drive-through penalty. You got 3 laps to do it. Otherwise, it's added on to your time. If you don't get it done 3 laps, you will be DQ'd out of the race, disqualified. Gone. Gonzo's game over. Black flag. And thanks for coming. Which I know a lot of these drivers are going to be sitting there going, yeah, not quite ideal for me. Dino Kier battling it out with Andre Saradia, looking up on the inside. Couldn't quite get past all done and dusted just as yet. They're going to push to claw their way through. On the charge, Saradio giving everything he's got onto the back of Dino Kier. Looked for the pass on the inside. Couldn't quite get it all done and dusted. Dino Kier keeping a very defensive line as we jump on the rear wing of the Hybrid Racing BMW Dino Kier. And as he takes a look back to Andre Saradio, hunting him down, does look for the inside line late on the anchors, try and bring it in, but just couldn't quite get those in deep enough to force Dino Kier off that apex. And I think there is a bit of pressure starting to seep in to both drivers. Small mistakes being made as they run right to the fringes of the circuit. On the outside, you can see how that nose quickly dives down on Sarodio's car, trying to pull himself back in for the fight. Lots of small, minute movements being fed into that steering wheel over the curbs. A little bit too much there, bouncing around, hitting onto the bump stops of the front suspension. Not going to be happy with that. Goes out wide once again, try and bring it back. Side by side, it looks like they're going to go. Saradio cuts back inside of Dean Nokia, going to try and challenge into turn 1. Couldn't get it all hooked up. Track is starting to get a little bit brighter out there, which means brake markers are becoming a little bit more visible on the way through. Going to be a very, very hard drive right down to the wire for them as they make their way to the top running order. As much as our top running order, you can go and win big with PokerBet, with that chance to win part of the 3 million rand that's on the line with PokerBet Premier Predictor. All that you have to do is correctly predict the final league standings of SA and English leagues. Stand a chance of winning. As we see a drive-through penalty handed out to Loic Randebel. Unfortunately, once again, running into a bit of a problem. Not ideal runs there. But I want to talk about a great thing that has happened at PokerBet, because after a hugely successful SA online poker event, one was done last night, and attention now turns to the 750,000 rand High Roller Championship that starts at 6 p.m. today. Will start at 6 p.m. today, and the 200 rand 1,000 Freeze Out Championship that started at 7:30 this evening takes place this evening. And you have an option to go and register for these links. Go and head over to the link down below. Join up with PokerBet if you want to have a shot at the amazing prizes going and launching out during the course of the race. So, big things coming up. There's SM Domingo getting a drive-through penalty, having to serve that. And unfortunately, that is going to really impact his drive and will drop him out of the running quite far down the order. So he manages to serve the penalty, but under duress at this point. Not going to be a happy camper with that run. Dean Nokia, Andres Serradio still going and pushing each other. Christoph Peterson onto the back of Ryan Barrington-Smith. They closing up onto Tienas Buerta just ahead of him. As we get closer and closer towards the end of the race. 17 minutes left of it, and Bago Krobler, unfortunately, very, very slow on the way through. So what happened to the number 15 that was on almighty charge? So let's go up to Tim in the helicam. Loic Randabel just ahead of him. Going to try and go for inside line. Second guessed it. Dives for the inside line. Over the curb. All good pass there. And slows up. Oh boy. Oh boy. Do my eyes deceive me? Did he have a mechanical problem that killed him out of his drive? So, Bago Krobler got the pass done, but unfortunately, mechanical failure. He had no throttle input there, dropped him down, and he had to restart the car, got it all fired up, and got going once again, but all that hard work up for naught. And after such a beautiful climb, one mistake, dropping him back down the order. And that's going to be a bit of a rough time out there. Serradio onto the back of Dean Nokia. Still these two fighting it out for the running order. Not backing down from this fight. These two having a great time out there. Ding-dong battle between them both in the similar machinery. Different setups going and leaning into it. As we see Dean Nokia just keeping ahead of Andre Serradio. He's keeping the pressure onto the back of him. Not going for any attack just as yet. Bernard Barkhuizen out in first place though. 38 seconds ahead of this man. Henry Mayer, our championship leader, with Gideon Renner running in third. Ryan Barrington-Smith in fourth. Fifth place, Christoph Peterson trying to make up some time. He's just getting past Tienas Buerta. Paul Fenter dives into the pits. He's going to get his final pit stop done and dusted. Rounded for the race. We'll be seeing this and maybe going to go for an undercut and we'll go and follow suit. Is he going to go for it? No, he's going to continue the race on. Jason Farmer running in 8th, 9th. Fiatia Buerta, followed by Daniel Rowe. Fleming Bauer, Mahath Musa has closed up the gap. Daniel Rowe, Fleming Bauer, and Mahath Musa fighting it out for overall position at the moment. They will not be pulling into the pits, and it's going to be a hard charge for them. Bago Krobler down in 13th. Dean Nokia in 14th. With Andre Serradio, Mordre Claessens, Werner Skumat, Harry Fadzel, Tienas Buerta, Rev Free, Loic Randabel, Issam Domingo, Kevin Jacobs, Keegan Sanderson, and Jude Neville, who is still in the pits. So Jude Neville looks like they have retired that car. As we see Serradio pulls it to the pits, he's got a drive-through penalty, trying to serve it. And unfortunately, pushing the limits of what he can do, trying to get past the likes of Dean Nokia, has definitely hurt his chances out there. Mahath Musa trying to give everything he can onto the back of Fleming Bauer. Will be trying to close up onto Daniel Rowe, but those drive-through penalties starting to come in thick and fast. Our top 7 still need to get the pit stops done, with Bernard Barkhuizen needing to serve 2 pit stops on the way through. You heard me right, 2 pit stops need to be done. Kerry Footsale and Loic Randabel both need to get their pit stops underway. They are lying in 18th and 21st position. So not a good time for them. They're going to be really hurting at this point to try and make up that little bit of time. Daniel Rowe swinging out very wide, trying to bring it back in, and just trying to keep those tires alive, and I think he's having a bit of a difficult time out there. Mahath Musa, though, getting a huge gain onto the back of Fleming Bauer. Bauer's going to have to be very mindful of the Project Vapor driver that's going to really push for a pass, look for the inside line, try to go late on the anchors, couldn't get it all sorted out. Fleming Bauer really trying to keep that McLaren in check, keeping a tighter line compared to Mahath Musa, stretching his gap out a little bit more now. See how this is going to go. Fleming Bauer really needs to dial it up if he wants to go and get it ahead onto Daniel Rowe, who's caught up to one of the Pandassi BMWs that is minding out the way, being very mindful of the racing that's going through, warning the drivers, listen, I'm going to get by. Mahath Musa going to try and follow suit and utilize as much of a tow as possible to try and close up onto Fleming Bauer, but unfortunately just wasn't enough. Just want to shout out to our back box out there, utilizing the indicator we saw on screen to show where he's going to be, and the drivers must go to the opposite side. Not often we get to see it. A lot of drivers go and choose not to do it, but for those that do use it, hats off to you. And I think that was Harry Footsale, if I remember correctly, that might have done it. Was it Harry Footsale? Or it might have been a little bit further up the road. But still, very, very impressed with it, and well done. Werner Skuman serving a drive-through penalty, scoring his second one of the race. Ouch. Really pushing the boundaries. Unfortunately, that being that Ford bucking Bronco going and throwing him off the track every so often, pushing those track limits, not going to be our ideal situation there. So our drivers making up a bit of time here. Both Musa onto the back of Fleming Power, trying to close his way up as we get closer and closer to the end of the championship. Only 11 minutes left to the pit window, and our top 7 still need to get their final pit stops done and dusted. I think Bernard Barkhuizen takes a gamble, and that will not work out for him in this race. I think he will lose that first place and will not be able to get it back. He's got 2 stops still left to go and serve, while everyone else behind him, Henry Mayer, Gideon Reina, Ryan Berg-Smith, Christoph Peterson, Rian van der Race, and Vietia Buerta still need to get 1 pit stop out of the way. Fleming Bauer trying to keep ahead of Mahath Musa, doing everything he can, really leaning into the corners to just try and defend as much as possible. Not going to be an easy time out there. Mahath Musa really putting on the pressure, hoping that he can close up that little bit of time, ensuring that it's going to be very, very possible to get it sorted out. Oh, Issam Domingo getting a drive-through penalty on his way through. Definitely not a night for him, and a night to truly forget about, as scoring his second drive-through penalty. Loic Randeveld has served 2 drive-throughs. Werner Skuman has served 2 drive-throughs. Kerry Fonzel served 1 drive-through, along with Kiki Sanderson, 1 drive-through. Andre Serradio served a drive-through as well. So these drive-throughs have come through thick and fast to go and impact the drivers hugely in this race, taking them out of their top spots every single time. Bego Krubler onto the back of Paul Fenter. And in this case, Paul Fenter has got a bag of problems right behind him as Bego is really leaning into him. And old Fenter trailer needs to try and hurry up along, because likes of Bego Krubler of Hybrid Racing immediately trying to put his nose in, tries to look for a pass, couldn't get it all done and dusted. These 2 friends, and well, I would say they're more frenemies than most, as they are great competitors out on the track, but they do not leave anything to chance. They will go and strike it out with one another as much as possible, ensure that they get up towards the top running order. But bear that in mind, and I say this off the circuit, both these 2 great friends. They chat a lot. They also do give each other a bit of gears every so often. Well, on track, they are more than willing to share and paint and more with one another. We see these 2 come to blows as the Aston Martins charge their way through and going and battling their way out. Fun fact for those that don't know the Aston Martin V8 Vantage, or the V8 AMR, outside the Centre Course Competizione, it's 2019 chassis. And that was after they made the V12. That was the last of the original hardcore Aston Martins before they went and shipped over a lot of the motors from Mercedes. They're running a Mercedes V8 in these cars. A lot of Mercedes parts underneath these Aston Martins, the running gear for the GT3s. That has proven widely successful over the V12 counterparts, and also widely more affordable than the V12 counterparts. So Aston Martin having a Mercedes engine, and the sharp end of it, if you go walk up to one AMR, there is a couple here in South Africa that you can go take a look at, that are one a V12, also known as Miss Buddy Penny, and then with Insta Africa they have got one of the V8 AMRs that races here in South Africa, where you get to see the cars. So always interesting to go take a look at the GT3 cars and see how they share a lot of gear. Example, Lamborghini, you're actually using an Audi gearbox and an Audi steering wheel, because Audi is the manufacturing majority of the parts for Lamborghini for their GT3 cars. So you can also go take a look at that. Just take a look at the bell housing and the flywheel, as that will tell you the story. Fleming Bauer, though, losing out the rear end immediately, has Mahath Musa going up on the inside. Gonna go for the inside line, goes for the launch. Can he get it all hooked in? Does so. Fleming Bauer losing out with a bit of a take slapper. Mahath Musa dives up on the inside, gets a pass done, getting past the likes of Kerry van Zyl, who allows the 2 to go and battle it out. He says, listen, this is not my fight. I'm going to concentrate on mine. You guys keep going. We're going to launch our way through and keep up this climb. So proper racing between the two of them. But Fleming Bauer onto the back of behind Musa, trying to make up a bit of time. As we get into the final stages of this race, it is going to be a monumental fight for them all. 17 minutes and 11 seconds to go, and 7 minutes left of our pit window. So, oh man, tight stuff right now for our running pack that will be fighting their way through. So proper charges needed to go for it. Bernard Barkhuizen leading out the pack, still with 2 mandatory pit stops under his belt. Henry Mayer lying in second place, 1 pit stop to go. Gideon Rayner in third, Ryan Barrington Smith, Christoph Peterson, along with Rio for the race, Virtia Burta lying in 7th position. Trying to make up a bit of time. Daniel Rowe in 8th, Mike Wissa in 9th, Fleming Bauer in 10th, Paul Fenter in 11th, 12th, Bego Krumler, Dean Nokia making up a bit of time. Loke Randabel serving his final pit stop a little bit further down. So 13th, Dean Nokia, Mordred Claessens, Andre Serradio, Jason Farmer, Vernon Skummer, Taylor Sporter, Kerry Funzel, Rian Ferry, Kevin Jacobs, Loke Randabel, and the big guy I think will be getting that pass done. Dustin, Will Kika Sanderson be doing so. Yep, Loke Randabel will fall down into 24th position, and Jude Neville still in pit lane. Interesting turn of events we are having right here tonight for the RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet GT3 Championship, and all on the line. Gideon Rayner pulling into the pits to serve his first pit stop. Well, his final pit stop. So Gideon Rayner is actually going quite late into this. 5 minutes and 30 seconds to go. He's got to get out, but lose out a few positions. But it does lead me to wonder, what is Bernard Barkhuizen doing? 5 minutes, he's going to have to double stack. He's going to have to pit this lap to get it all done and dusted. Paul Fenter closing up with Fleming Bauer onto the back and behind Musa. Paul Fenter has got Bego Krumler onto the back of him. Gideon Rayner coming out just ahead of Virtia Burta, who is chasing him down. So Virtia Burta will be Rayner again, saying to the team, listen, I have got Gideon Rayner, who's just come out of the pits. This is where he is out on track. I'm going to try catch him. So, how is it going to work for Gideon Rayner, who is leading out a net first place at the moment? Henry Mayers holding the fastest lap time of the race as they charge their way through. So, not going to be an easy time there. Virtia Burta running in 7th position. Will need to get 1 more pit stop. He will drop down into that top, just out of that top 10 by the looks of it. But Bernard Barkhuizen, 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go. He is 32 seconds ahead of Henry Mayer. I mean, this is just, I don't know. Took the gamble here, rolled the dice, and I think he's got himself a steakhouse. I highly doubt he's going to have a full house all the way through here. May have a dead man's hand. That is for certain. For those who are a big fan of poker, Bernard Barkhuizen into the pits. Yep, it's going to be a double smack. Oh, into the wall way through as well. So here comes Henry Mayer, and let's take a look at our track map. Let's bring it up. So the triangle that is currently on the screen, that is our leader, the 667 car of Bernard Barkhuizen. The red dot is Henry Mayer, who we're watching at the moment, the 99. Will Henry Mayer be able to close up that gap? Will he go for the undercut in terms of the pits? Let's see. Will he dive into pit lane? He's going to keep going. So he's going to keep going. So is Bernard Barkhuizen. Going to try and come out of the pits. Drive through penalty coming in for Bego Krumler, lying at 12th. So he's going to drop out. Top 10 hopes. Going to be completely sut after that one. And we do see Henry Mayer's gotten past Bernard Barkhuizen, and it's going to be going and strutting his stuff a little bit further down the road there. So Bernard Barkhuizen took the gamble. Unfortunately, second place is all over the cards for him. Fleming Bauer onto the back of behind Musa. Virtia Burta trying to close up onto the back of him. Go get a little bit more of a drive. And Mahath Musa not backing down. See both Martin racing behind him. Going to be a proper charge here. Bego Krumler, unfortunately, on the back of Paul Fenter. Suddenly will lose out a lot of time. He's going to serve that drive-through penalty. He's got 3 laps to do so, and there's 12 minutes left of the race. So it has to be done. And Paul Fenton will be breathing a sigh of relief. He doesn't have to defend as hard as he would once was at this point all the way through. Our top three still need to get their final pit stops done. Ryan Barrington-Smith has completed his pit stop. He's trying to get fourth at the moment. Around for the race, he needs to serve his final pit stop as well. Viertia Buerta needs to serve his pit stop as we get into the final 2 minutes. Yep, Viertia into the pits as expected, trying to serve that pit stop and get it underway as quick as possible. So these drivers are literally going to have to put on this lap for those that still need to do it. Beggar Krobler doing his drive through, so he's trying to get it out of the way, trying to lose as little time as possible. Henry Mayer bails into the pits, and Bernard Barquez 7 seconds behind and will be following suit. Bernard Barquez, though, going to be stretching it out on the same little bit of tires as the rest. So he has not changed tires throughout this entire race. He's going a single set to try and challenge his way through. Christoph Peterson, though, needs to pit as well. 1 minute to 22 seconds. And Rian for the race is a little bit far back. He's going to have to really stand on the gas if he wants to get that pit stop done and dusted. Christoph Peterson dives into the pits, brings it back, and will be jumping in. As where is Bernard Barquez? He is way down the order. And no, never mind. He's actually still there. He's coming out of the pits. He's in second place. Timing screen a little bit slow on my side, but good to see he's coming out of the pits. And Henry Mayer's already long since gone. Round for the race, though, dives into the pits with 48 seconds left on the cards. He gets it into the pit lane. And talk about running it right down to the wire on this one. So he's going to get done and dusted. All drivers have now completed all their pit stops. Drive-through penalties handing out left, right, and center. More than Massey has handed out penalties in the past. So Mahath Musa putting the pressure on Daniel Rowe as they make their way through. Let's see who is running to the limits of those track limits. Going to flirting with those track limits at this point, as Christoph Peterson just lying slightly ahead of Daniel Rowe, with Mahath Musa keeping a huge amount of pressure on the back of him. Fleming Bauer in the McLaren that is now chasing him down as well. So do not go and count out for a big fight here that's coming through. Pit window is now closed. Mahath Musa all over the back of Daniel Rowe, trying to make up some time. Going to be a close fight between them. Daniel Rowe keeping for an inside line. Mahath Musa going to try and get right onto the back of him. You can see how Fleming Bauer has closed up that gap. Mahath Musa looks for the inside line. Couldn't get it done and dusted. Andre Serradio onto the back of Viertia Buerta. He's also trying to get a pass done and dusted. Viertia Buerta going and stretching out that run a little bit more as they fight their way through. Serradio hoping to just keep the pressure on. Viertia getting a bit of a tank slapper, losing out a bit of drive. Ferrari 296, not a happy camper now. Suddenly, there's got a whole lot of problems in a matter of seconds. Serradio up on the inside. Can he get it late on the anchors to get it past? Goes for the inside line. Forces Viertia out very, very wide, right to the red stuff. If you're going and betting on red or betting on black, well, Viertia was all over the red there, but it looks like Serradio getting chucked on the outside. Viertia going and muscling his way through, just going and squeezing Andre Serradio. They are sharing paint properly on the way through. So Viertia Buerta really leaned on to Andre Serradio, and I do expect Andre to return the favor at this point. Launches up on the inside. Viertia comes across the nose, trying to defend as much as possible. Not able to just keep that apex open. Andre Serradio gets a drive of note. Tries for the inside line once again. Couldn't get it all sorted. Viertia running right over the sausage curbs. And now it's into the final corner. Serradio pushing as hard as he can. He's going to give it everything he's got. Possibly looking to try a little bit of a bump draft, making their way into turn one. It's going to be late on the brakes to try and pull it in. Serradio not going to go for the passes yet. He's going to try go for the undercut in the left-hander. That got closed off to him. Viertia going and defending as much as he can on this run. Daniel Rowe keeping it in Mahath Musa and Fleming Bauer joining into the party. That is 6th, 7th, and 8th that are on for a fight, as the drivers making their way around. And Daniel Rowe having to go to the middle of the circuit, defending as much as he can. Forces Mahath Musa, get on the brakes mid-corner. You watch the car going and snapping out underneath there. Fleming Bauer trying to make up some time. So Rodeo up on the inside of Viatia Buerta, getting the pass done, comes across the nose. Oh! Immediately, big contact there. Isam Domingo into the door of the likes of Viatia. Unfortunately, that is going to drop him down for Kevin Jacobs. Oh, he's going to be smiling. He gained a position for free. So late lunch, unfortunately, ended up in a very big ouch for Isam Domingo. And that landed up with a bit of a ding in Viatia Buerta's door. He's going to have to try and limp around. Henry Mayer out in the top of the chart, so looking to try and make his way through. Will be trying to stretch out that gap a little bit more and hoping that he can stand on the top of the charts as they fight their way towards the sharp end of the field. Not going to be an easy time out there as they fight their way through. Christoph Peterson onto the back of Ryan Barrington-Smith. He's trying to make up a bit of time on the way through. So our drivers really needing to dial it up and force their way by Daniel Rowe, fighting against Mahath Musa, who looks up for the inside line, couldn't quite get it done as he tries to defend middle of the circuit. Mahath Musa is going to try and follow him through, looks for the inside line, looks for the outside, going to go around the outside, keeping it absolutely flat on the gas right the way through, looks for the cutback. Daniel Rowe swaps to the inside line, immediately cutting off that cutback. Mahath Musa getting a far better drive though, closes it up onto the back of Daniel Rowe, who's trying to really hang on for dear life here. Mahath Musa dealing with Fleming Bauer, who's constantly hunting up. Mahath Musa drops off the track, and that has allowed Fleming Bauer to get past. Fleming's got the pass, and now stands on the gas. Mahath Musa tried his luck, got understeer, that's all she wrote. Fleming Bauer says thank you very much, and gets that pass done and dusted. 5 minutes and 35 seconds left of round 6 here at Messina for the RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet GT3 Championship. 150,000 Rand on the line in cash and PokerBet credits for our drivers. And this is our pro division that are racing their absolute hearts out at the moment, trying to ensure that they can stay into the fight all the way through. It is green up and down. Henry Mayer, Bernard Barkhuizen, Gideon Rayner, Ryan Barrington-Smith, Christoph Peterson, along with Daniel Rowe, Fleming Bauer, Mahath Musa, Paul Fenter, and Dean Nokia in that top 10. Moving further down, Mordrake Larsens, Ryan van der Race, Bego Krobler, Andre Seradio, Viatia Buerta, Jason Farmer, Werner Skuman, Tianas Buerta, Harry Footsale, and Ryan Ferree in 20th position. Moving further down, Kevin Jacobs, Isam Domingo, Keegan Sanderson, Loke Randabel in 24th. Jude Neville still in the pits, who retired the car, but has not gone and moved the car inside his pit box. So he does count as a car that still exists out on circuit, hoping they score a few points for those that truly do retire the car. Ryan Barrington-Smith keeping ahead of fellow teammate Christoph Peterson, Logistical Nightmare Racing. Ryan Barrington-Smith, part of Logistical Nightmare Racing in the Aston Martin, doing everything he can to stay ahead of that Honda as he tries to push his way through. Christoph Peterson really laying into it. This is our closest fight on circuit at the moment, with both drivers working in the same team. I think they're trying to pace each other at this point, not worrying about who's going for the pass just as yet. But while they try to pace each other, that has allowed Daniel Rowe, Fleming Bauer, and Mahath Musa to start gaining that little bit of time. They're closed up. Daniel Rowe's only 2.8 seconds behind them, and he is bringing along a train that is incredibly hungry at this point. Score some valuable points for the line. So it looks for the OG Gaming, the Ominous Gaming, they're running second and third at this point. Henry Mayer of Martin Racing running in first, and Ryan Barrington-Smith looking to lead out the LNR team with Christoph Peterson on the back of him. Daniel Rowe of Hybrid Racing trying to stay into it. Dean Nokia of Hybrid Racing in that top 10 as well. So multitude of teams coming into play here, utilizing their skills, trying to work each other, trying to pace each other. Constant discussions are going to be happening out there, saying, look, this is what we need to do. We need to focus on the charge here. How far are we willing to go? And how much are we willing to push? Also, you start trying to figure out what's needing to be done. Is the late pit stops now working? You have now got into that 2 minute 53 mark. You're going to have to be settled where you are. Fleming Bauer tries to go for late lunges on Daniel Rowe. Couldn't quite get it all tucked in. Lost out that little bit of time. Immediately, Mahath Musa has drawn up a little bit closer to that gap. So Fleming Bauer trying to stand a little bit closer towards Daniel Rowe, really giving it horns. Going to go late on the anchors, trying to bring it back. Daniel Rowe keeping it nice and settled. Mahath Musa doing everything he can. Try and run over the curbs a little bit more than planned. Will be looking left, looking right. Tries to get on the gas early as possible. Couldn't quite get it all hooked in. Going to really try and sink his teeth into this one. Mahath Musa looking to gain the position back over Fleming Bauer. It's going to be a proper hard charge as Kiko Sanderson does kick up a yellow flag in the remaining 2 minutes of this race. But Mahath Musa is getting very, very close to Fleming Bauer, and that is going to be a little bit disconcerting for Bauer, who is now trying to force a mistake out of Daniel Rowe as they fight their way through. So 6, 7, 8 is still in the fight. Christoph Peterson in 5th. Behind 4th place, Ryan Barrington-Smith also saying, come on, buddy, you need to hurry up here. We have got a big, big problem closing up onto us. Loic Randall moving out of the way. He's going to allow the drivers to come through. Will Daniel Rowe be that lucky to have Loic going and giving him the space? Nope. Unfortunately, he's going to be tucking it right behind Loic Randall in one of the most difficult parts of the circuit. It's the double right-handers. You're going to have to try and pull it back. Can't really go on the outside, otherwise you will lose out too much time. You will land in the wall if you go out on the marbles there. So Loic Randall will start to see Daniel Rowe get a little bit unsteady. He will flash his lights saying, hey, listen, buddy, I'm coming through. They're getting onto the main straight, though. That should give him a little bit of room. Fleming Bauer immediately closing up that gap. Mahath Musa onto the back of him. 1 minute to go. All out charge. Mahath Musa hoping that he can get that little bit more time. Looks for an inside, couldn't quite get it done. Fleming Bauer trying to carry a little bit more momentum into turn 2. Little too much. They had to go and brake a little bit harder than planned as they make their way through. So Daniel Rowe is stretching his legs little by little as these two will begin to fight with one another. But immediately Mahath Musa losing out that little bit of drive. Fleming Bauer keeping on the pressure. They're still onto the back of Loic Randall. Loic getting unsteady on the exit. And Daniel Rowe flashing his light saying, listen, I'm coming through. Best be aware of it. Loic Randall, who did get a monster of a tank slapper, suddenly has all 3 cars coming past. Mahath Musa just getting forced off the apex. Loic Randall sliding the car around, trying to keep it all together. I think has taken Mahath Musa out of this little fight. So it's Daniel Rowe and Fleming Bauer down towards the wire, fighting out for that 6th place spot on the moment. Daniel Rowe doing everything he can as we hear Henry Mayer is on his final lap. He is getting it done and dusted so far to get himself across the line, and he will be focusing on the charge that is necessary. Fleming Bauer hoping that he can go for the inside line on Daniel Rowe. Couldn't quite get the pass done and dusted just as yet. Has to wait it out at this point. Rowe hoping he can push a little bit harder, try and keep himself alive. 2.8 seconds behind Christoph Peterson, just ahead of him. But I don't think he's worrying about what's in the front windscreen. He's worrying about what's in the rearview mirrors, because there's a whole lot of drivers looking to go for him. Fleming Bauer, Mahath Musa. Now Mahath Musa has gained a lot of ground. He's clawed right back to Fleming Bauer into the final sectors. So he's hoping to push that a little bit further up the road. Is it going to be enough, though? That is a question that's rolling it through all his head. And we take a look to Henry Mayer. He is getting closer towards the end, and going to be smiling ear to ear on that one to score another top 10 position, well, another 1st place in the championship. Been a very interesting race for him. He's opened up that gap early on, maintained some really good lap times. So 34, he actually managed to get a 34 dead during the course of the race. Fleming Bauer looks for the inside line. Daniel Rowe not giving him an inch at that point. Mahath Musa trying to come back at him, do everything he can. As we do see Henry Mayer make his way through the final corner. Kevin Jacobs giving him the space, and will be saying congratulations on this one. Henry Mayer takes the checkered flag for round 6 of the RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet GT3 Championship. 2nd place will go to Bernard Barkhuizen of the Ominous Gaming. 3rd place, Kenyon Rayner will be taking that last spot on the podium for the Ominous Gaming. Ryan Barrington-Smith ahead of Christoph Peterson as it stands. Daniel Rowe with Fleming Bauer. Daniel Rowe goes for a pass on the Angry Racing, but has that compromise his drive. Fleming Bauer going to take him down to the wire. These two are going to absolutely hammer it. Final corner. Fleming Bauer tried his luck, couldn't get the pass done, runs out wide. Mahath Musa tries to have a go at him, but just couldn't get him. Mahath Musa finishing up in 8th place. Fleming Bauer in 7th. Daniel Rowe going and finishing up in 6th. Great race between them. Paul Fenter into that top 10, 9th place. Dean Nokia in 10th. Mordre Clausen's just out of the top 10. Gets 11th position. Round for the race will come across in 12th. Bago Krobler in 13th. Andre Sorodio in 14th. Vietia Buerta in 15th. Jason Farmer comes across the line. He's happy and giving us a bit of a show there. Jason, great to see it. Werner Skuman in 17th. 18th, Tiana Buerta. Harry Fonsale. Ryan Ferree. Kevin Jacobs comes across the line. Isam Domingo will be making his way through. Along with Keegan Sanderson and Loic Randabel going and rounding out our pack in lower spots. Well done to Loic Randabel. And, well, hasn't quite crossed the line as yet. He's got to reverse it across the line. Just to put on a bit of a show. Oh! Loic! Loic! Oh, no! Loic Randabel tried reversing across the line. And what he has just done, what we have just witnessed, is Loic Randabel would have been right up there for the top of the charts, has just disqualified himself. Which means he has taken himself out of the race. He will have finished down way into 27. Trying to be clever, and our steward said no. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Loic, you're going to be kicking yourself on that one. Wow. Let's head back up to the commentary box and take a look at the racing as what it was. It was great. It was awesome time out there. We saw some amazing action out on track. But I've got to say, Naughty Badge Award or the silly stick has to go to Loic Randabel, who all he needed to do was drive 50 meters to cross the checkered flag to score himself up in the order. And what he successfully did is he got himself disqualified 50 meters before the line. Man, oh man. Not ideal circumstances. Not what we want to see, but oh, egg on the face for that one, buddy. Sorry, you're never going to live that one down. If I talk about guys running out of fuel as a problem, that by far has been the season of, my heavens, egg on the face. Let's bring in our drivers, though, and let's talk about who is around. So let's start with our third place, and that is going to be Gideon Reyna. So, Gideon Reyna going to be coming into the commentary box. Gideon Reyna, welcome to the commentary box, dragging you up here. Third place on the cards, and you got it all in. How are you feeling with that one, buddy?
Yo, I'm stoked. I really don't know where that came from, but yeah, super happy with that result.
Well, I've got to say, off the start, though, your driving style a little bit different to what we usually see in all season. Usually you were a lot more you were a lot more aggressive on your attacks for the start. This time, a lot more patience. You were waiting out for an opportunity. Were you waiting for the tires to get more dialed in? Were you trying to get yourself sorted out? Because you were very patient compared to your usual driving style that we've seen for the last 5 races.
Yeah, I saw everyone was doing quite solid pace, so I thought I'm happy with this pace. I'm not going to do stupid moves or something like that and cost time at the end. So I was just happy to sit behind everyone and just doing those lap times. And because I knew I was planning to pit a little bit earlier than the rest because the Ferrari's straight line isn't the best. So to avoid doing overtakes on track, I thought, okay, I'm going to just sit behind them. I'm happy with this pace and then try the undercut. And yeah, I couldn't believe when I came out of my second pit stop, I couldn't believe that I saw, okay, I'm net P3. And then I saw, I think Bago got a drive-through, so I think that's what gave me the P3 at the end.
Bago actually had a drive-through when he was still in 12th. So you on just solid pace got yourself up towards the top. I mean, that was extremely impressive. And I know there's been a few people supporting out there in the PokerBet grandstands that are quite happy about it. And seeing even the likes of Brandon Kruger, who unfortunately had a disconnect, was extremely happy for seeing the Ominous Gaming up there, but a lot of people that usually seen the aggressive driving style, suddenly you switched it up this evening, and it worked. It worked very, very well. Third place, good bunch of points on the table, but how are you feeling now that round 6 is over? We're moving on to round 7 next week, and that prize pool of 150,000 Rand is on the cards. And you've now really put your name, you've tossed your hat into the ring there.
Yeah, yes, after last night, after the quali, and I saw I think I was 1.2 or something like that off of pole, and I couldn't believe. I was like, where is my pace? So I did some race runs today and just trying to get the pace out there, like up my pace, and it seemed to work. And yeah, super happy with tonight. I'm just happy this track is over because it's definitely not one of my strongest. So yeah, I can't believe I actually got on the podium. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. I think we're going to Kyalami, which is one of my favorites. So yeah,
it's one of the home tracks for us here in South Africa. But I've got to ask, we saw lots of drive-through penalties being handed out tonight. How close were you to getting one of those drive-through penalties?
Actually, I only got my first warning on with 10 minutes to go. So somehow I avoided all of the warnings tonight, and yeah, kept it between the lines.
Okay, well done on that one. Great stuff. Third place on the cards for you. But with that being said, you're here on third place. You've got the microphone. The floor is yours. PokerBet listening out with all ears, along with our associate sponsors and all our petrol heads out there in the VIP grandstands cheering you on. The floor is yours. Keep it PG-13, but you're allowed to add a little bit of spice to your competitors. I mean, it's getting close to the end of the championship. But you're more than welcome to thank anyone that you want and challenge anyone you want.
First, I just want to say thank you to PokerBet for giving this great opportunity for all of this South African sim racers to be able to compete for money each week. I think it's great, and it makes the competition, I think, also a lot closer. And I think the guys have been behaving quite nice this season. So yeah, just big shout out to PokerBet for this amazing opportunity, and then also for Hansi and Bertus for continuing to grow RaceFace the way it is. It's absolutely fantastic, and then to you, Stephen and Tristan, for broadcasting the Pro and Pro-Am streams to everyone. So yeah, shout out to everyone in RaceFace.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well, go and enjoy the celebrations. You have earned it. Gideon, well done. And I can proudly say the first time I ever got on track with this chap, he was racing in a Aston Martin. He went and dived up on the inside. I don't think you'll ever remember. It was Zandvoort. He dived up on the inside of me, and I thought, man, this driver will never get anywhere towards the front. Well, 4 years later, you've made me eat my words properly. So I will say it live on air. Gideon Renner, well done. You have proven me wrong, and you have proven yourself as one of the top drivers here in South Africa. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it.
I'm always glad to see that, and honestly, it's proud. I really love eating my words when it comes to it. It's going to be a proper run through it. Let's move on to our next driver. Let's bring in Bernard Barkhuizen, running second in the championship, and got second here at RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet GT3 Championship, round 6 at Messino. Bernard Barkhuizen, welcome to the commentary box. Glad to have you here. Not a new thing for you, but second place on the cards. Henry Mayer got away from you this time around, but your fight throughout the race was between hybrid racing, and then it was between the Pandacity cars. It went wild for your fights. Take us through that start of the race.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. The start, Bago was quite a bit quicker than me, obviously due to lower fuel at the start. My strategy was way different than his. But yeah, I knew I couldn't catch Henry there. So I needed to pull some, whack strat to outdo him somehow. But yeah, I couldn't catch him. It was just way too quick today.
It's going to be a bit of an interesting one heading towards next week. But how was it out on track? Conditions much darker than usual, a little bit cooler than usual. What's your take of the racing this evening?
Yeah, look, no, the darkness really affects your, how can I say, consistency. Absolutely. But yeah, it's all about, track knowledge and yeah, looking for break markers on the track instead of the side because you can't really see there. But yeah, it was a fun race. It's personally not my favorite track. So I think Kailami might go a bit better than today.
Well, we're going to ask the question because you took the pit stops right down to the wire. You actually double stacked your pit stops. What was the reasoning to go a little bit further versus your competition who pitted earlier? Was there a little bit of a concern seeing that everyone else has pitted earlier and they're already on their final stop and you still had 2 stops under the bag? Or was it part of the plan just to run it right down to the wire?
Yeah, no, look, it was part of the plan. I think the strat that works the best if you don't change tires is basically running your full tank of fuel to the bare minimum, to like, at the end of the pit window, because the lighter your car is, and obviously the quicker you're going to go. And on a lighter car, especially if your tires are gone, it's going to make an impact, and it might give you that few extra tenths that you need to actually get over the line in first. But yeah, didn't work.
Well, it was still a great race. Well done to you on the running. I mean, exciting times out there. Lots going on. Lots to improve. But still, a 2-3 for the Ominous Gaming team, which is always exciting. And to have your teammate there on the podium with you. But second place, you second in the championship. You got second here tonight. Still 2 more rounds to go, 7 and 8. They are coming up next week and the week after. What's the game plan heading into Kailami?
Game plan is hoping something happens to Henry. It's like, because the thing is, I don't think it's gonna be possible catching him from here on. So something needs to happen. I need to get some luck from somewhere. But yeah, game plan is just keep my head down and practice as much as I can and deliver my best.
Well, absolutely incredible stuff. Bernard Barkhuizen, as you know, we like giving the floor to the drivers to go and have a chat to PokerBet, our title sponsor, our associate sponsors as well, and all the petrol heads out there in the PokerBet grandstands, the VIP grandstands. The floor is yours. Remember to keep PG-13. You can thank who you want. You can challenge whoever you want. And, well, we hand over to holding the silver for round 6 of the RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet GT3 Championship.
Just want to say, yeah, P2 is good enough. And thanks everyone for watching. And stay posted for the remaining 2 races. I think it's going to be very tight. I think me and Henry are pretty much on par for the remaining of the season, considering the track selection. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well done, Bernard Barkhuizen. Go and enjoy the celebrations. You earned it here at Messina.
Cheers.
Always great to do it. Well, that being said, let's bring in our first place, Henry Mayer, getting the win. Henry, well done once again, celebrating that one. But let's talk about the dominating lead at the start. Nearly 18 seconds up the road at one point. What on earth happened? You suddenly all connected here tonight versus sometimes, well, we go back last week where you were on the back foot.
Yeah, thanks, Steven. My plan from the start was to pit for tires, and very soon into the race, I saw Barkhuizen wasn't gonna pit, so it was just making up a pit stop basically, or what, 30 odd seconds. So yeah, massive thanks to Fleming and Vietje for that. Like, they kept me posted on the gaps there going in, and that really helped, like, to shoot it down a bit. But what a race!
Well, I gotta say, very, very exciting to see the racing. How was the conditions out there, having to try and carve your way through the entirety of the grid, and suddenly with darker conditions, headlights only being the ones to see? What's the thoughts out there?
That doesn't really make that big of a difference, to be honest. If it's dark, if it's in the day, it's all the same. Like, you can see the curbs, you can see everything with the light, so that's not really that big of a deal.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough on that one. But taking the win tonight, you do win the prize from PokerBet, which is absolutely incredible for winning tonight's race. But also one step closer to that 150,000 Rand prize pool brought to you by PokerBet. Is it starting to hit home a little bit that suddenly you've got your hand one on the door to one of the highest stakes tables here in sim racing?
In a way, yes. In and I'm just trying to stay on earth, and like anything can happen. Like there's still 2 races left, and I think for the championship, it's the points difference is going to be like 51 points or something now. So anything can still happen at this point. But yeah, at this point, I'm in a good boat for taking it. So I'll just keep my head down.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well done in that. Well, Henry Mayer, you scored the win here for round 6. You hold the crown at the moment. But now it's time to address the people, all the petrol heads out there shouting from the rooftops. And our sponsors, PokerBet, our title sponsor, On-and-Off Machinery Mart, SA Lube, Red Star Raceway, Scallywags, Drifting Academy, all being our associate sponsors here at RACEFACE.PRO. But the floor is yours to challenge those, to say thank you to those, and to add a little bit of spice. Remember to keep it PG-13, but nothing stops you from going and having a bit of fun out there with your fellow competitors.
Yeah, just a massive thanks to RaceFace, PokerBets, On-and-Offs, SA Lube, all the other sponsors. Thanks to especially you, Bertus, Hansi, for making it possible. And then for all the viewers and the teammates, keeping my head cool sometimes. And then I guess Barkais, and let's go on the last 2. Let's have a good one.
Door to door, ding dong battle, take the gloves off, go in for a fight, elbow to elbow, and shake hands afterwards. That sort of fight.
Yes.
Okay.
We just need to keep it clean between ourselves, between the teams. I don't want any shenanigans going on in the last 2 races.
Yeah, don't want to add too much spice to the braai, otherwise it lands up with the meat being too spicy. Fair enough, can take that one, but well done on your win, Henry Mayer, and go and enjoy the celebrations. Well deserved out there.
Thank you, Stephen.
Absolutely incredible stuff as we got to have a chat to Henry Mayer and having a bit of a word coming through. Always exciting times nonetheless. Well, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be moving on to round 7 next week. Lots happening out in the world of RaceFace.pro and at PokerBet. Make sure you go and log on to Facebook. Go and take a look at PokerBet out there. Also look on to their social media. Lots and lots of amazing contests. Also head down to the link in the description. Click on the link. Join up. It's an affiliate link. It does help out with RaceFace.pro and it also does get you some great prizes as well. So click on that link, sign up, and be a part of the PokerBet winnings on your charge to victory. But that being said, next week we're going to be heading out to round 7 and having a bit of fun. So keep an eye on that. Wednesday, it will be the RaceFace.pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series round 7. That starts at 10 past 8. Along on Thursday, exactly the same, 10 past 8. We'll have the RaceFace.pro PokerBet GT3 Championship at Kyalami. Following week from that, we'll be kickstarting our iRacing on the Tuesday. So that will be happening on the 10th of September. Mark that down on your calendar, not to be missed, as we will be going into the GT3 racing and iRacing and the IndyCar racing. Believe it or not, we're moving on to the IR18s, the Dallara IR18s in IndyCar racing as well on iRacing. So great stuff to see. Lots coming on, lots to happen, and we want to see you guys battling it out for the great runs. But that being said, a big shout out to our sponsors, PokerBet, our title sponsor, On-and-Off Machinery Mart, SA Lube, Red Star Raceway, Scallywags, the Drifting Academy, Tembo Tech being a part of all the amazing action. But also to you guys, the drivers, the spectators, the family members, the absolute petrol heads that come in and week out. Make sure if you want to go and join all the racing, because we're going to be opening up our fun series very soon here at RaceFace.pro. You head over to SimGrid, click on the link down below and be a part of the SimGrid Go and follow the community, and then from there you'll get all the updates of each upcoming championship to be a part of. Remember, completely free to enter. Don't need to pay for a thing. And that does come in because you enter for free and you can win big prizes like what we got here with the PokerBet. And we have both our Am, Pro-Am, and our pros all racing. So there's every opportunity to move forward. But we say goodbye to Messino. We will be moving on. And from Tristan Herbs, who is out on holiday. Thank you very much, Tristan. And myself, Stephen Koenig, would like to say a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an exciting time at Messino with some close racing and the championship even closer. We say farewell to round 6 here at Messino, but we go and say hello to our home circuit at Kailami for round 7, the second last race of the season. It's going to be a wild one. It's going to be exciting, so don't go anywhere, as right here at RACEFACE.PRO, we've got you covered. With all the amazing racing that comes to you weekly, we have to give acknowledgement to our sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible here at RACEFACE.PRO. So starting off with our first sponsor, let's go and take your hats off to PokerBet. For all the tournaments, for all the cash games, daily free rolls, and sports betting, there's no better place to be and win with PokerBet. With it all revved up and you're looking for high speed, whether you're into drag, drift, or even long circuit, Red Star Raceway has got you covered. As we take a look off to all our machinery needs, head over to Oddendorf Machinery Mart. Remember to keep it slick with SA Lube, 20 years of Castrol distribution. Sliding in to keep you on your toes, Scallywags Drift Academy will keep you right at the top of the pack. And if you're looking for all your streaming needs, head over to Tenvo Tech for all the overlays. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been an honor having you. We'll see you next time right here from the THT Productions.